Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mastering MFL. Today we are going to talk about a very important and crucial aspect of the game, which is player progression. It's rather complicated, there are many elements, but hopefully at the end of the video you know better how to get the most out of your player and how you can let them reach their full potential. So it will be a little bit complicated. I hope to explain it clearly. Bear with me. And then hopefully at the end you will be a better agent and you can get the most out of your players. So which things will I talk about? First, the main components of player progression. Then how can players progress? What can hinder or slow down progression? And finally some case studies and main takeaways. So the most important component of player progression is potential. Each player has a certain level. They can reach a certain progression ceiling, which is their max overall they can reach throughout the career in the perfect circumstances. So Neil Devine here on the right, you can see him. He has 83 right now, his rating, but his potential could be 88. Or Raymond Adams is 73 and he could have a potential of 88 also. So this potential number represents the maximum overall they can reach. It's a hidden number and it's randomly generated and it keeps a secret until players retire. And it also depends on the starting age and overall. So of course, if a player is already 28 when season 1 starts, his potential is going to be way lower on average than a 16-year-old. So here you have a nice graph to have an indication of what the average potential is for all MFL players. So the gap between their overall and their potential, if it's between 1 and 2, is 20% chance, 3 to 5, 40%, 6 to 9, 31%. So most MFL players will get between 3 to 9 points overall better. 10 to 15, there's a chance of 7%, 16% is 2%. So there are some really super talented guys who can get better than 16, even reach 20, 35. The max potential is 99, so it is possible to reach 99. But to really progress so much happens only in very rare cases. So here you can see that hidden stat on each player's page. You see there is potential, but it has a question mark, so you only see it at the end when they retire. Then another component is prime age. Prime age is when a player reaches 80% of their potential. So when they start playing around their full potential, when they're nearing the end of progression. Again, hidden and randomly generated. The mean is 26, but it can vary based on the starting age. So you can see here in the graph that depending on their prime age, players progress differently. So some players peak already early in their career, and then the other 20% takes a long time, while others progress more slowly and reach a prime age later in their careers. So of course, with players with the same potential, you rather have that they have an early prime age, that they peak early, so you can use them at their almost full potential, multiple seasons, more years. So what I said, like the prime age distribution, is that most players will reach a prime age around 26. Sometimes it can be very early in the career, 21, 22, or very late, 31. So you have some late bloomers, that is possible. Also really cool is that even if they have the same prime age and they have the same potential, they still have a different progression path. And this is because the attributes of each player progress at a different page, and there's a different amount of XP needed to reach certain levels. So how does it look like that the red player here, you can see that even with the same potential and the same prime age, he goes faster early in his career and then slows down, while the blue player takes a long time. And this is all because the different attributes progress at a different pace, so the overall also changes in different ways. So here you have 5 different cases. Well, they all start with the same attributes, but they end up with a different level of all of those attributes because of the unique progression path. But in the end, the overall will be the same. Sounds very complicated, but it makes it more fun and engaging that every player is really unique. And even if the starting conditions, the prime age potential, the training, and the match conditions, if they're all the same, they can end up all different, like you see here with these 5 cases. And final element is the XP distribution. So the XP earned is distributed over all the attributes, what I already just said with the unique path. A base portion goes to each of the attributes, but then there's extra XP for the key attributes. So a defender will get more XP in defending, which makes a lot of sense. And then I want to finish this main components with a nice quote from the white paper. Do read the white paper. I think it's better to read than just listen to me rambling about this, but this is a very great quote. So it says, this dynamic progression system, so with potential, prime age, the unique path, etc., allows for a diverse range of player trajectories, ensuring that each player's development remains exciting and maintaining a sense of discovery and engagement throughout their careers. So yeah, you really have no clue how all of your players are going to develop there. And even if they start progressing, that's not a proper indication. Maybe someone earns 5 points super fast, but maybe that he has a very early prime age and he already he's like a potential of 6. So plus 6. So, well, another player might take a super long time and then start progressing 10, 12 points. So you really don't know. There's no clear indication. And that makes it so engaging and fun. So how can players progress? Players signed to a club get XP by playing matches and by training. If they don't play at a club, you can still send them to the development center, but this will be another video. So let's talk about players who are signed to a club and how they earn XP in matches and by training. So by playing matches, they earn XP. If they play more matches in a season, they get more XP. Maybe they have a good cup run and at an additional amount of matches, they get more XP. And also the match rating can influence the amount of XP. Maybe they get a bonus if they have a very good match rating on average. So here you can see the more matches a player plays, the more XP he gets. So if it's a regular squad player and he plays 50% of the matches, the base match XP is 80%. But if he's a very important player who starts all the time, he gets 100%. So the more matches a player plays, the more XP he earns. Here you can also see that the match rating has an impact. So a player who has a season average match rating of 9 will get an 18% XP bonus. While if a player is really playing bad, he gets a malus of 20%. So this is a nice plus. If you have a great season and you have one star player, he will get a nice progression bonus for that too. Then training, so all players are assigned to a club and they participate in training. You don't have to do anything for that, it's all automatic. But you do have to pay attention. If a player's energy level drops below 60%, training stops. I guess all normal managers keep rotating and they don't use 60%, but if you're a very inactive manager, you get punished for this and training stops. Then what can hinder progression? There are 3 things I'm going to talk about: talent gap, aging, and high overall and rarity changes. So first, the talent gap. This means that if a player is playing matches against players that are significantly worse than him, or training with players that are significantly worse than him, that's not going to help him. It makes sense in real life if you're Messi and you play with some random bad team from like the 4th tier in English football. Yeah, you're not going to get better. While if you play on the highest level in the Premier League, you still get better. Here you can see how this works. So if there is an overall difference of 4, for example, so he's 4 points better than the overall of the opponent, you get an 8% penalty. Or in training, it's like 96%, so a 4% penalty. And of course, the higher the difference, the worse the penalty gets. It can even be 90 to 100% if it's 20 or more. So if you put a legendary in stone, let's say with all kinds of common players, and you also have common players, he's not gonna earn any XP. So he's not gonna progress. Then aging, so this also makes a lot of sense. It's harder for older players to gain XP, and especially after 30, which is also what you could see in real life. Like older players, they don't get better that much. At 31, there's not a big effect, but at 36, they already receive only half of XP. So the older they get, it gets harder to progress. And then final is the high overall and rarity change. So if a player is already, let's say, a legendary, it will be very hard for this player to progress any further. So Virgil Matthews, he is 17, but he's also legendary, so he's not going to progress so fast, which makes sense because he only has 15 more points to, actually 14 points to progress. And someone who's like 94, it's very hard to get that extra point then. And also rarity jump is slightly harder. So Neil Devine here, 83, with 2 points overall, he will become a legendary, but that extra jump is harder to reach. So let's, to finish off the video, look at some case studies. So Virgil Matthews, who I just talked about. So he is young, so this is going to help him. He has more years to progress. He is a legendary, so he's 85 rated already, which means that it will be harder for him to progress in general because he's already so good. In order to make him progress the best, I probably should place him in the Diamond League with all other legendary players and make sure he finds a club where he plays all the time. So if he has this legendary, the team of legendaries in the Diamond League, he will get full XP from training. If he plays all the time, he will get full XP from that. He is 17, but maybe his prime age is 30. So it could be that first he's not progressing at all. So I could panic then and think, oh no, his potential is super low, or he just has a later prime age. So all those things play a big role. Same for Raymond Adams. So he is uncommon, so it means that he could potentially progress more, well, that's for sure, than Matthews, because he is an uncommon. But for him to go from 73 to 75 will be harder because it will be a rarity change. Again, he could play a bit lower, like in Iron Division or Bronze, but he should play with players that are as strong in the other teams and in his own team to get full XP. So the main takeaways is that player progression is unpredictable, and that is for a reason. It makes it way more fun to play the game, and it's unpredictable because of potential, the prime age, and the unique path each player has. Another important takeaway is that you should try to create the perfect circumstances for your players so they can progress and reach their full potential. So there shouldn't be a talent gap. They should get great match ratings. You should try to play them like as many matches per season if you really want this one player to progress as much, like to their full potential. And you have to always start this player. Then remember also that it's easier for low overall players to progress. For common players, it's much easier to progress than for legendaries. It's also easier for young players. And some players are late bloomers, so don't give up hope too early with your great talent. He could be a late bloomer. Final words, if you have any questions about player progression, let me know. Any feedback about these explainer videos, comments, always welcome. And of course, like and subscribe. And finally, I cannot imagine that you're already not a part of MFL already. But if that's the case, use my link to sign up for MFL. And if you spend $18 on packs, you get a common player for free. All right, thank you for watching and see you next time.